No woman naturally turns into a man by just lifting weights. That only happens when hormones are altered. Steroids do more than just build muscle. They change voices, facial features, and even internal organs. Some women use them to chase strength, but in the end, the drugs took over. These are the stories of 13 women whose lives changed completely after steroids took control.
Nicole Bass was never an average athlete. She could lift more than most men and barely blink doing it. Her size was the kind that made people stop and stare. Nicole began bodybuilding in 1985, and in only a few years, she was transforming into something people had never seen before. Nicole did not just enter the spotlight, she stormed into it. By 1998, when she joined professional wrestling, she looked like a human sculpture carved out of pure granite. Her muscles were massive, and her body was lined with deep cuts of definition. That kind of sharpness only comes from insane levels of training. But Nicole was not just training hard and eating clean. She was also taking anabolic steroids. These drugs mimic testosterone, and they help build muscle faster than anything else. The results were impressive, but they came with a price. Nicole's body started to change in ways that had nothing to do with the gym. Her jaw grew broader, her voice dropped in tone. Her entire look began shifting into something much more masculine. These are called androgenic effects, and once they appear, they often never go away. By the 2000s, the same body that once looked invincible started falling apart. In 2006, Nicole was rushed to the hospital with pancreatitis. That is an inflammation of the pancreas, and it is both painful and dangerous. Steroid use is a common cause. The hits kept coming. Years later, Nicole suffered a stroke. Not long after, she had a heart attack. Her body was now crumbling from the inside. It was heartbreaking. She had spent her life building herself into a powerhouse, but now the very thing that helped her rise was tearing her down. Nicole's story ends in tragedy. What started as a hunger for strength became a slow and painful collapse of health and life. But her story is only the beginning. The next story follows one of the most famous female wrestlers of all time and shows how even strength cannot protect you from heartbreak.
China, born Joan Lor, was not just a wrestler, she was a force of nature. She stood 5'8" and weighed over 200 pounds. In the late 1990s, she walked into a male-dominated world and changed the rules. She did not just compete against men, she beat them. She lifted them over her head like they were made of paper, and she did it all on the biggest stages in wrestling. China called herself the ninth wonder of the world, and honestly, it made sense. No one had ever seen anything like her before. But with fame came questions. China always denied using steroids. Even so, her muscular build and deep voice led to constant rumors. Steroids can do more than grow muscles. They can change the shape of the face. They can alter the voice. They can throw off the natural rhythm of your body. People whispered and speculated. Many believed her transformation was not just from lifting. Soon, China's personal life started to unravel just as fast as her fame rose. China was in a relationship with Triple H, one of wrestling's biggest stars, but everything shattered when she found out he was cheating on her with the daughter of the company's boss. China confronted the company, expecting honesty or maybe even justice, but what she got was silence. And then she was fired. Just like that, her career was over. No warning, no explanation, no second chance. Without wrestling, China lost more than a job. She lost her identity. She stopped training, her muscles shrank. The body that had made her famous became a painful reminder of what was gone. She struggled with addiction and depression. Her appearance, once iconic, now brought her sorrow. In 2016, China sadly passed away from an overdose. Her tragic story proved something many people forget. Even the strongest bodies can break when the heart and mind are left unprotected. In the next story, we meet a woman who was punished not for doing anything wrong, but simply because she looked too strong.
Kim Chizevsky was a legend in the making. She started her bodybuilding career in 1989,
and by the mid-1990s, she was nearly unstoppable. By 1996, Kim weighed 157 pounds of pure, defined muscle. Her legs were so massive and strong that fans called her Thundra. She was not just a winner, she was a redefining force in the sport. But her success soon ran into a wall. The sport that had once celebrated her size and strength started changing its rules. In 2000, something unexpected happened. Judges would now score women not only on muscle and definition, but also on femininity. They were told to look softer, prettier, and more traditionally attractive. Suddenly, makeup and styled hair mattered just as much as biceps and symmetry. This was not about fairness, it was about control. Kim was told that to stay in the game, she had to shrink. She had to reduce her muscle mass. It was not just frustrating, it was deeply disheartening. While male bodybuilders were praised for getting bigger, female bodybuilders were now being told they were too much. They were being asked to be less. Kim's story revealed a painful truth. Steroids had helped her reach a level of strength that no one expected. But once she got there, the very system that cheered her on told her she had gone too far. Her size, once her biggest strength, became her disqualification. As Kim stepped away from bodybuilding, someone new was preparing to take the stage. This next woman brought something entirely different. Her secret weapon was not just strength, it was relentless, ice-cold discipline.
Ice-cold discipline. I'm really pleased. Put on some good muscle, and the definition is coming through already. Renee Campbell did not rely on luck or natural talent. She built her body on strict discipline. For nearly 10 years, she followed the exact same eating plan without ever taking a single cheat day. Every 3 hours, day and night, she ate a meal of chicken, rice, eggs, and cabbage. Often the food was cold, but she never cared. She believed success meant sacrifice. At her peak, Renee weighed 200 pounds. Her back measured 47 inches wide. To maintain her size, she ate more than 5,000 calories every day. When she went to restaurants, she brought a digital food scale to measure each portion. To most people, this would seem extreme, but for Renee, this was simply required. Her method paid off. In 2019, she became a world champion and earned her pro status in bodybuilding. But it raised a question: was it really worth it? Renee gave up comfort, she gave up nights out and every small indulgence. Her life was ruled by structure and control. She barely had a social life. Her entire world revolved around her discipline. There were also quiet questions about her transformation. Renee never admitted to using steroids, but her dramatic physical changes, extremely low body fat, and deep muscle definition made people wonder. Even if her path was completely natural, the lifestyle she chose was not, and it might still come back to haunt her someday. Renee's story is not only about muscle, it is about the cost of obsession. But while Renee chose pain willingly, the next woman had it forced upon her by tragedy. Colette Jamone was only 5 feet and 1 inch tall, but when she walked into a room, people didn't just notice, they stared. With a jaw-dropping 150 pounds of pure muscle stacked on her tiny frame, she looked like she could deadlift a bus without breaking a sweat. Her rise in the bodybuilding world was like a rocket launch, fast, loud, and hard to miss. But in 1997, everything came crashing down. Colette was involved in a devastating accident that nearly ended her life. Her body was shattered, her perfect symmetry vanished. Her muscles, once balanced like a Michelangelo sculpture, became uneven. Most people would have packed it up right there and retired to a life of yoga and green smoothies, but not Colette. She went the other way. She hit the gas harder. After 9 surgeries, Colette came back fiercer than ever. It was like she told pain to sit down and shut up. By 2005, Colette muscled her way to win Canada's heavyweight championship. And she didn't stop there. By 2018, Colette bulked up to a whopping 175 pounds. Her legs got so big that jeans became a distant memory. She had to rely on stretchy leggings like most people rely on coffee. People were stunned. Her transformation was so extreme that whispers of steroids turned into full-blown debates. Her muscles looked like they were carved by a mad scientist. Colette never really confirmed what she used, but let's just say her biceps didn't grow on broccoli alone. Colette's story is one of raw, relentless resilience, but it's also a bit of a cautionary tale. She pushed her body to the edge and maybe even a little past it. Her strength came from pain. Her power was undeniable, but with great size came great suspicion. Just as Colette battled symmetry and surgery, another woman was entering the ring to wrestle with the impossible beauty standards of the internet.